the father of the word stress. A Canadian, Hans Selye, in the 1950s, opened the Stress Institute of Canada. This is a classic book if you want to learn about stress, and I'm going to use his definitions to start us off around this discussion of stress. So Hans Selye said, stress is the non-specific response to the body to any demand for change. Now, that might just sound like a simple statement. I want you to think about, in the last year, have you started a new job, got a promotion? Did you lose a friendship? Did you move a house? Did you move some furniture around even? Did you get a pet? Did you lose a pet? Did you lose a spouse? Did you lose a loved one? A very, very high stress for many people is losing a child. I had a cousin in Ontario who recently had a tragedy where she lost her son. Have you lost your confidence? Did something fail? Did you get a new car? What about a dishwasher? What about a computer? I find that highly stressful when I have to leave my computer at the shop for 5 days and then go on a huge learning curve. There's another one. Have you been on a learning curve recently? Have you had an adult child leave home, go to university? Have you had illness where you had to change your routine? It goes on and on and on. We have micro changes all the time. So stress is the non-specific response of the body to any demand for change. So here's our Misha. Now, this is a man that I am married to for 55 years. And look at that, just that beautiful scene of relaxation, sleep. I think he's asleep. Eustress is a term that Hans Selye termed for just the right amount of challenge, just the right amount of stress. This is my friend Alvin Law. He's pretty well known across Canada, actually internationally, as a speaker, motivational speaker. And here he is playing with Manisha. Both of them are they're trying to figure out how to connect. Manisha's trying to figure out, ooh, this is a bit challenging to figure out how I can get him to pat me. And they figure it out quite well, because obviously Alvin is armless. So your stress is that good stress, just enough challenge. I just love it when somebody asks me to come and speak on a topic. I get really excited. It's a little stressful, but just enough to get my creative juices going. And there's regular stress, oh well, it's what it is. This is a bit challenging. I got up here. How do I get down? We have everyday stresses about what are we going to do with this food that needs to be used up. There's all kinds of minor little stresses during the day that aren't necessarily your stresses, which are very rewarding. And then we've got distress. Now, distress is the term Hans Selye used. When you've got too much stress, you said too many yeses, you've got too many demands on you, and it's starting to feel a bit frantic. We want to be frantic free. What are some more definitions? Chronic stress is when it's even more than distress. And by the way, everybody makes up that's one thing I kind of get frustrated with in psychology. You think you're getting a new book or a new theory or a new therapy, and you find out that often they're just using a different term. So somebody else might use a different term for chronic stress. But chronic stress typically means when the stress or distress has got to the point where it's turning up as anxiety, maybe anxiety attacks and or depression. Like it's getting it's very serious and is affecting your health. It's starting to show up as illnesses. And then anxiety is an extreme worry. The nervous system is charged. My book talks about the charged state, and anxiety is in there, anger's in there, fight and flee responses are all involved with anxiety. and anxiety can move to anxiety attacks. And depression is depletion. Again, I've talked about that in my Return to Center book. Depression has to do with collapsing into what's called the dorsal vagal with no energy. And it again is the stress is too much, and it's kind of a give up, hopeless state that we can move into. And trauma is the stress comes along and it's layered on top of stress from the past, distress from the past that did not get resolved. Examples are child abuse, child neglect, being in a car accident. A lot of phobias turn up in trauma. You're avoiding getting inoculation because you have a phobia to needles. If a dog bit you, you might have, you see a dog and you get pulled to the past. In trauma, you get pulled past stress that was not resolved, okay? And the stress might have been created by people that did harm or neglect to you, or just might have been an accident that you felt out of control. Often trauma has to do with moments of not having any power, any control, or any choice. The good thing about stress and distress in our everydayness is that we can make some healthy changes. Oh, little extra definition that we want to explore is often people say, I'm burning out, I'm burnt out. And it's really important to know what that means. It's very different than stress. Burnout has to do with the demands of the workplace, or as a caregiver, we need to remember that our home and our family have demands. And you often see this in the workplace, that often with middle-aged women who have children, and then they have the older adults that they're expected to care for, plus be at the workplace, and it is over exaggerate, overextending them. Okay, the burnout is that the capacity to meet the demands is not possible, and you're going to burn out if you try to. So typically, you have to take something off your plate, and often in workplaces, they have to get realistic about the expectations of you in the workplace. If you're putting in like huge number of hours, or if the assignments or the projects are beyond the capacity of the hours for which you are paid. So often people, if you are trying to keep up with the demands of the workplace, and it means that it's beyond your capacity, you're putting yourself at risk for snap, cracking, or breaking, okay?